It hasn't. I'm just kidding.
Well, in general, just going off of what I've already said, getting that college experience that was a little different than other people, I think it helped me be more confident in what I was doing in school, and I think it definitely, gave me a leg up as far as where I was when I graduated. I like going back and seeing the band, and it's when I go back to the football games, it's not just to go back for the games, it's for the entire experience. So that's been fun, and we've also made some friends that we still see on a regular basis up here. I mean, if you had told me when I was first getting to UVA, I was just graduating high school, it's like, okay, well, some of these people that you're seeing now and going bowling with and just being generally crazy with all the time, when you're, 4 or 5 years down the road graduated, you're still going to be going and hanging out with them and going to watch football games or going to watch basketball.
Playing golf with them.
Playing golf with them.
Taking bar exam with them.
Yep.
Amanda, Judy, Lance.
So we still get to see a lot of the people that we met in band, and that's been really nice to be able to see them and meet up with them. I'd say we hang out with band people here more than anyone else.
Yeah, it's definitely been one of it's just the friendships that we've made from there is, aside from Taylor, has lasted, 4 years now. So it's pretty cool.
Well, then Island came in and was very regimented. I mean, everything was so precise, so exact, and that was a completely new style of play for me. Coming in, okay, you play soft, you play medium, you play loud. No, with Island you play 3 inches, 6 inches, 9 inches, 12 inches, 15 inches for the crazy stuff. Everything was delivered to us, promptly, like this is exactly what we're doing, this is where you're marching to. It's not perfect, it's not good enough. So it was very regimented style of play, and that was very unique for me. And I think it kind of made for an interesting experience because, I'd always been kind of relaxed in a band situation. I felt like a lot of the other sections in the band were very relaxed, but because of Island, it was very strict. And at first it was very difficult for me to deal with. I didn't really like it. I didn't know how to handle it. And then Island gave us a talk about why he did it. He said, we do it this way because we want nothing less than perfect. We do it this way because the band relies on us to do it this way. And sometimes there's things that we do and you don't understand why. And I can't give you an answer for that because sometimes it's something that's come from, Mr. Pease or from Mr. Cook, and it's just something that we just have to do it. We have to not ask questions, and we just have to do it right and do, the best we can. And when he finally explained to us, the reasoning behind everything, I think it became a lot easier to support that methodology and to embrace the fact that, okay, yeah, we're going to work hard. We're going to work harder than a lot of the sections in the band as far as time-wise and, being preparation goes. But I think it made for a better experience for me overall. When Island left, it was actually very difficult for me personally because I felt like he had always worked very hard for us. He was constantly trying to improve, everything and anything he could. And I felt like he backed each of us up individually as well, no matter what kind of, on the field interactions you had. He very much cared about us as students, as people, as drummers, and just in general. So it was really difficult for me, at least, to transition into, trying to work without him. And I do think that some of that very, strict way we held ourselves was lost when he left, because there's only a very special kind of person that can instill that kind of regiment in a bunch of college kids that, just came out of high school. It's become a different style of play now. It's become a little more technical, a little more, what's a good way?
Drum corps.
It's become more drum corps.
More drum corps in terms of like the type of play, the type of the music they're playing. They're playing a lot of like little intricate, really cool stuff. With Island, there were 16th notes accented, like some high rolls, low rolls. Like there was nothing. Everyone, maybe like a quick little diddle in the middle of every song that'd be fun, or it'd be like a little bit more intense. But everything was more, let's just accent what the band is doing and just play loud, or just try to get more of a reaction from the audience, from what we're doing, from what the drumline's doing, kind of thing. Playing for Island was interesting because while I was there were some times when I really didn't like it because he really pushed us to a level of perfection that I didn't know. Like as a first year, he wanted me to play as good as the center snare. There was no way I was going to play as good as the guy who plays for the cadets. Like really, come on. I played in this Division IV high school marching and it didn't compete. Like we didn't have anything like that. So having that high expectation was really frustrating to get through. It's interesting though because in retrospect, once he left, I missed him. I missed how he pushed us.
I think it was also confidence in our ability to play to that level because I know I had the same thing as you. I came in and I'm like, I don't see how you expect me to play at that level. But then I was like, okay, well, he's making me do it because he says that I can do it. He has that kind of confidence in us. So that was definitely, once I realized that, it was a confidence boost as opposed to, I'm so frustrated I can't do this. It was, well, you know, I have to do this and he expects me to do it, so I must be decent enough.
Yeah.
Worked out.
Island, at least for me, was one of the things where at first I was like very frustrated with him.
Frightened almost, I believe.
Frightened would be a good way to put it. But it's interesting because the older I got, right before he left, like I finally started to like come around and actually really enjoy being around him.
It was the same thing for me, I think, because when I first got there, I was very in the high school mindset. I think I was 17 when I came to UVA, so once I started growing up and, you know, realizing that there was more to band than just going out there and running around and hitting the drums a little bit. Once we got past that professional, you know, we're going to be perfect, we're going to do it right, we're going to work really hard, then we finally started to be able to get to know Island a little bit better and have a better relationship with him.
And we've run into him since, you know, he left, since we graduated, and
it's always been good being able to see him.
Like he's really good to see him at our wedding.
And Pat is awesome.
Pat's always wonderful. Like we came in and saw him yesterday, and he gave us a big hug.
Mr. Goodseer was definitely a link between the drumline and the band. If we had problems, you know, we would go to Island or then we would go to Pat, and if there was like band specific problems that, you know, Island or Pat couldn't work with right then, it was like, oh, go to Mr. Goodseer, he'll help you out and figure out what's going on. So I think the final escalation would go to Dr. Pease. From my first year to my fourth year, it was definitely growing pains. Despite the fact that it was only the second year of the marching band when I first started, it ran incredibly smoothly as far as I was concerned. It may be different from someone who, you know, knew a little bit more about what was going on at the time, but when I came in, I was like, oh man, it's just, everything's like perfectly in line. There's nothing ever goes wrong. So I think it got better over time. It was not ever something I ever saw at the beginning, but by the time I was a fourth year, I was starting to see some of the places where we had hiccups, and we're just trying to figure out how to move past it. So it's definitely running a lot smoother now, or I could see it running smoother by the time I left, getting more into rhythm, and, you know, on game days, this is what we do. This is, if something goes wrong, this is how we handle it, because we've dealt with this before.
I think one thing that frustrated me was how much change there was from year to year. Like my first year, we were at the SAB, we did a walk from the SAB just down. My second year, we went to O'Hill, we did a march down from O'Hill all the way down. And
then we stopped doing that.
Then we stopped doing march downs. Like I think that there's an opportunity there. I mean, yeah, UVA fans are kind of their own thing. They don't really, I don't know how quickly they'd be able to latch on, but I felt like, you know, with the marching band, and of course the athletic department has a say in everything, so we can't like just make something up. But it would have been nice to have some continuity so that we could have had some.
I mean, that was part of the growing pains of getting a band and working with the athletic department to figure out what's going to work. But then, I don't remember which year it was, it might have been like my fourth year, third year. We decided that even though we were going to do the march down, it was going to be some small bands that were going to go around and play the tailgates and everything. And it soon became lovingly known as the Slave Band.
Slave Band.
So I was like, okay, who's doing Slave Band? Go ahead, go get on the bus, go ahead.
Because it used to be the drumline. The drumline, my first year, the drumline we played under the trees in front of the stadium, then we did the Wahoo Walk. and then we played at the tailgates.
But then they split it up so they could
And
get,
then they
you
did the
know.
band there, because you need,
Yeah.
drums are great. And sorry, drums are the best, but
But it was
but it
cool
was
to be able
better
to go.
having like
I personally-
the music and having.
I personally liked participating in slave bands. There
I
were
did
some
once.
people that really enjoyed it.
Yeah, the tailgate. Oh, I remember one time they'd be like, "Oh, come! It's our birthday. Come play."
Yeah, come play for us. Here, have some food. It's like
Yeah, free, really good food. Some of them they tried to offer us
everything.
everything, including things we shouldn't have been drinking. Nobody did. They never
Yeah,
did
like,
offer it,
hey,
but thank
no
you,
alcohol.
But you see how
We
hot this
appreciate
is.
the offer.
Yeah.
But yeah, the slave band, I enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I thought I enjoyed doing with the drumline, but I thought it was more important to have like the songs there people can cheer along with, because people have something else to do other than just like walking.
Well, something I've definitely noticed over the years, it started towards the end of my time at UVA, is fans of the marching band. You know, when it first started, everyone was still kind of like, hey, where's the pep band? Why are there a bunch of people out there with fancy hats on playing things? And so, but then by the end, people started actually participating in the dances and some of the stand tunes that had different movements. A lot of students were getting into it.
Like, even yesterday, we were at the game, and there wasn't much of a student fan section at all. But the fans that were there, the drumline would be playing a stand beat, and what the band was doing, some students were jumping into, and that was really cool.
Having people show up for the band practices, on the Friday nights to see what the band's doing.
Yeah, by the time I graduated, there were like a good crowd of people there.
And I think that's one of the coolest things, just going out to practice and, this person's up there, they are not a parent of anyone in the marching band, they are just here to watch us and to, be a part of it. And I think some of the football players really were starting to get into it as well. I know we had a few football players stop by during practices and
Sing the good old song.
sing the good old song. Oh gosh, who was it that didn't know the good old song? One of the players, he came and he was trying to sing it and he just didn't know the words. But yeah, the fan base is definitely something that I think is huge.
People stay for halftime because they're like, the marching band. There's been some pretty cool shows we've done recently. Like the first one this year when they did, I forget what it was, but they made it a guitar, and people went nuts when they saw the guitar.
When we were sitting in the student section for this past game, we noticed that people didn't go get food until after the band played. It was like, okay, band's over, let's go get our food now. So it's definitely getting a lot more support for the band as, a part of the football game, part of the football experience, as opposed to just, there's a football team, there's the marching band, which is definitely a huge thing.